just got this from, it was Bleeding Cool. Talking about just what did actually happen between Sony and Marvel with the Spider-Man thing. And some gossip's coming out here. This is from Rick Johnston. Wrote it yesterday. Let's just go through it here. Headline, gossip. So what did happen with Sony and Marvel and Sony over Spider-Man anyway? Alan Horn is a very familiar figure to comic book fans. Entertainment studio executive, a Warner Brothers, I guess something. Proofread your stuff, guys. He's famous in comics as the man who pushed to reduce the generosity of DC Vertigo contracts. Two creators, that's all the likes of Garth Ennis, Warren Ellis, Grant Morrison, Mark Miller, and Neil Gaiman, and others jump ship, bolstering valuables such as Marvel's Icon imprint, Image Comics, Dark Horse, Dynamite, and Avatar. It's first in a series of dubious steps that would eventually see DC Comics close the imprint. And at Disney, he was one of the principal figures involved in removing Marvel Comics' influence on Marvel Films' output, so the Marvel Films head Kevin Feige reported directly to him rather than Ike Perlmutter. That's probably for the better. And no longer had to take notes from the East Coast Marvel's Comics Creative Committee, made up of Joe Quesada, Brian Bendis, Mark Miller, and the like. Again, probably a plus in the overall scheme of things. But rumors nursed from Disney employees talking to Bleeding Cool over the weekend suggest Horn's involvement with the recent Spider-Man, Marvel, Sony, Marvel, Spider-Man split may have not been as they have been reported elsewhere. And they center around the phrase, God, Alan almost messed that up bad. I figured it was something stupid, but not quite the stupid I thought it was. Recently, there was a huge kerfuffle over the relationship between Marvel and Sony over the future of the Spider-Man films. Previous two movies, the Captain America Civil War and both Avengers movie appearances, were part of an agreement between Marvel and Sony. Sony has the Spider-Man movie rights in perpetuity if they keep making new movies. A deal made at the time of Marvel's bankruptcy before the Disney purchase. A similar deal, but not identical, exists between Marvel and Fox over X-Men and Fantastic Four. Disney bought Fox, which solved that issue, but that's not happening with Sony. So, when Disney demanded a greater percentage of revenue, a 50-50 deal for the Marvel Studios Spider-Man films, Sony balked, pulled the deal, and everything went south. Until a few days when it all got sorted out. But what really happened? I'm told the Disney gossip is that Disney's Alan Horn had got the situation with the rights all backwards in his head. He somehow thought that Disney was licensing Spider-Man to Sony to use, and not that Sony just held the rights. And so, when Sony didn't agree to the demanded new deal, Horn told them that Disney wouldn't be allowed to use Spider-Man anymore, totally ignored the rights situation, and Sony said, fine. Cue the involvement of Kevin Feige, who did know the score, and was brought in to negotiate directly with Sony instead of Horn, and it sorted everything out. Word is that Disney now received 25% of its profits from Spider-Man 3, but that they also have to pay a similar percentage for the production costs. And Sony can also use Spider-Man to some degree in their non-Spider-Man movies, such as Venom, Morbius, Silver Sable, Black Cat, Madam Web, whatever they're going for. And so we have a third new Marvel Spider-Man appearance coming at 21, but it was a close one. So Sony's got Tom Rothman and Disney's got Alan Horn. It's a miracle movies get made these days. Okay, well with that, yeah. We will have to keep an eye on this situation for a while here, but yeah. Thankfully, things are starting on the personal front here. We're any day now, really, any minute now, frankly, as far as, find out about the loan and getting an RV. I'm getting sort of a Donna Reed thing going here with the hair. I'll do something with that. But hopefully, upgrading things rather soon here. Get the better equipment, make this look a little more polished, and also be able to get a regular setting instead of either out in the car or in here, hoping to hell the backup music's not being picked up on the hanger. So, PayPal, Patreon down below. Want to send stuff? Captain Robert Abel, 40046 North Goldenrod Road, number 115, Winter Park, Florida, 32792. And we will talk at you later.
Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Well, the man is ignored, accidents is reward to him. Like it's a great big bang up, whenever there's a hang up, you'll find a smile.